Is there a good reason?
So we can sip some meat.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Okay, great. I can't let her out of my sight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, just crimped it up, yeah. I'm Sean, I only picked up before. I flew him back 20 or so, yeah. So I say hello whenever I'm passing this way, so, yeah. Hey. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so what a great day for these two, yeah. They're down like rats. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of them. Can't go down. What's that? What are you doing? You got here like last night. You made every time. Mississippi, so pretty amazing, you know. And on Monday morning, I never missed the place. Starting, that's why. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. No.
Oh! What size do you wear? Large?
I keep my service a secret.
All right, I'll get that resorted soon here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Montgomery, and I am the MC today. And I appreciate your attention. I have a card in my hand. Before I go fill up my gas tank, I want to make sure it gets right back to the right person. It is a element. There's a finder's fee. Thank you very much. Look, we need you. Bruce, how are you? How are you? And we do some housekeeping here, and everybody, the French government printed the programs for this event. So you just give us a few minutes, and everybody will have one. So we're almost done following our programs, and those will be distributed here in just a few minutes. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, Frank.
Can't get you in the shade, I can't get you a seat.
So we'll see, honey.
Anybody been in the Army here? Raise your hands if you've been in the Army. What's the best phrase in the Army? Hurry up and wait. Thank you very much. Thank you. You get a prize. We're almost finished holding those programs. I apologize for the delay, but it'll be well worth it. So, thank you.
What they did. Yeah. Logan.
Bruce.
Thank you.
Move Bruce.
Thank you.
Test.
Thank you.
Any of y'all want to know?
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, the programs were just a ruse to allow Congressman Wilson to go to. I'll turn the program to start off with Ken Bear.
Welcome, everyone. I'd wake you up. Hey, I'm Kim Berry with the South Carolina Historic Aviation Foundation, and we are thrilled to have this event here today. We are thrilled, Mr. Cook and his family, and all of our prestigious guests from around the world. It's going to be a great day, and just what a turnout. And if you're wondering where you are and what the South Carolina Historic Aviation Foundation is, basically, we are a 501c3, but we are a fledgling air museum. And as you can see, we're out of space. And we're working on that next phase, but we do a lot of different functions for great American heroes like Mr. Cook, who's here today. And this is going to be just it doesn't happen often that one of our World War II guys in this day and time is getting a medal from the French government. And I was just, when I heard about this, I said, we've got to be part of it, and we're just, really thrilled about it. I'm not going to keep you long. We have some cool stories afterwards. We'll have a little food and drink here, a little social, if you guys want to know some cool stories about some of our artifacts here, that most of them are based right out of South Carolina. Our focus is aviation achievements of South Carolinians. And not just World War II, but I mean from the Wright brothers all the way up to current. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Eric Montgomery, who is a World War II veteran advocate. He goes around the country putting these programs together and does a fabulous job. I've been talking to him about 2 months, and me and several other gentlemen who've really helped out, and then our whole crew here at SHAPE, as we like to call it, have just worked really hard to put this together today. And Mr. Montgomery has a pretty storied life. I only met him 2 nights ago in person, and he told me a little bit about it. He told me about his great uncle who was killed on the first waves at D-Day. And that's one of the reasons, well, the main reason why he does this. He's been involved in hundreds of veterans' funerals. He's been involved in about 64 of these medal events, and all over the country. And this is what he does, in his spare time, and which is pretty admirable. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Eric Montgomery. And again, everyone, thanks for the great turnout, and enjoy yourself.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Ken, for your kind introduction. And welcome to the South Carolina Historic Aviation Foundation's hangar and the Foundation's collection of aviation history. Over the past few months, I've come to know Ken and his commitment in helping to organize this program. In developing this program, we have never lost focus in what this program is all about: honoring Bruce Cook and the bonds of friendship between America and our longest standing ally, France. I think it's safe to say that this program is truly unique and the first of its kind that's been held here in this hangar, an international ceremony. As I share information with Ken about the significance of the Legion of Honor and Bruce's part in helping to win the Second World War in Europe, that level of commitment increased, not only in Ken, but with the 2 other people instrumental in bringing this day to light. Stephen Jeffcoat, right over here, this gentleman on the couch, he's a little challenged, as we all are, in our physicality, but he is sharp as a tack mentally. So thank you, Jeff. Stephen, thank you very much. And also, Daryl Hammond, Colonel Hammond, they have both been instrumental in preparing the preparation of this event. And along with all the volunteers here at SHAPE, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. As Ken pointed out in his welcome, the mission of the foundation is to preserve the historical achievements and aviation pioneers from the state of South Carolina. Of those pioneers, one of those pioneers is with us here today, Jim Hamilton, who this very airfield is presently named in honor of. Jim is right over here. Thank you, Jim, so much for keeping the spirit of aviation alive here in Columbia. This airfield, the Jim Hamilton L.B. Owens Field, has served the Midlands area business and private aviation community for almost 100 years, and before America entered the Second World War. And it was a small Army Air Corps base here before the Second World War. We'd like to acknowledge as well several other people as I can. First, Wanda and Butch Stump. They're in the 3rd row here. Wanda first told me about Bruce Cook in Normandy in 2024, which in turn set in motion the events culminating with this ceremony here today. And then again, after I started speaking with Bruce, I relied on his grandson, Chip Cooper, who helped me assemble the documents and history needed to advance Bruce's nomination to the French government. Thank you so much, all of you, for your help. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames and messieurs, I welcome you to a celebration of liberty and freedom, as we indeed pay tribute to an honorable man who, well known throughout this community for his generosity and steadfast encouragement and concern for others, who 80 years ago served this great country when and where America needed him to be, in the skies over embattled Europe. Uncle Sam trained him to be a soldier first, an airman second, and with that training instilled in him great courage and fortitude, and then challenged him to serve in the realm of aerial combat that only few in this room have experienced. Over the next hour and so minutes, we will honor Mr. Cook in several different ways. We will hear testimony from his family of his character, then how his service and millions just like Bruce inspired generations of future servicemen and women to come, and how remembering the past secures a better future for us all. We will learn how his service brought peace and freedom to the oppressed peoples of France and Europe as a whole. And then, as we advance further, hear from his elected leadership representing the people of the great state of South Carolina that will honor him with proclamations and congratulatory letters and tributes. Then we will watch history in the making as we celebrate together as Bruce is honored by the Republic of France with their highest honor, the French Legion of Honor. So all in attendance, watching across the globe today on many social media platforms, thank you for honoring Mr. Cook and each other with your presence here today. Before we start and begin any further, I think we need to call upon God to bless this beautiful day. And at this time, I would like to call upon Mr. Scott Creed, Executive Pastor of the Northside Baptist Church, to invoke blessings upon this event. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask that you please rise if you are able and remain standing until asked to be seated. Thank you.
Well, Bruce Cook is not just a decorated veteran to us. He's a dear friend. He's family. He's a faithful member of our church, and he is a mentor to so many people in our community. Just a couple months ago, we recognized Bruce's 100th birthday. I don't know that many 100-year-old men, but I think at 100 years old, you slow down just a little bit. Bruce is not slowed down at all. In fact, if you go to any of the schools, Northside Christian Catholic games, Bruce is always there. If you go down to the athletic complex, there's one reserved parking spot, just one. And there's a big sign on it that says reserved for Mr. Bruce Cook. I don't know if he's down there enjoying the ball games or just harassing the officials. Don't let that mild manner fool you. Bruce represents what many call as the greatest generation. Well, Bruce is great not because of what he did in World War II. He's great. He's truly great for what he's done since then, the values that he stands for. He walks with humility, with faith, with a heart of service, and he encourages the next generation. We love you, Bruce. We honor you. It is a privilege to call you my dear, dear friend. Allow me to pray. Heavenly Father, we pause with grateful hearts to thank you for the testimony of Bruce Cook. Thank you for the courage you placed in him as a young man during World War II. We thank you for protecting him through those difficult times and bringing him home safely. Lord, thank you not only for his service to our country, but for the life that he's lived since then with humility and faith and encouragement, quite strength. Thank you, Father, for the countless people that he's influenced simply by the way that he lives his life. As he receives this special award today, Father, may he feel this deep gratitude and respect from everyone gathered here today. Bless him with peace, with joy, with comfort, and Father God, with strength. And Father, may Bruce's life remind us all that true greatness is found in courage, humility, faith in Jesus Christ, and willingness to serve others. We thank you for this time. We dedicate this time to you. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Creed. Friends, kindly remain standing and place your hand over your heart. And for those in uniform, render appropriate honors as the honor guard from a combined team of Army and Air Force soldiers and airmen from the South Carolina Army and Air National Guard Honor Guard. present the colors of France and the United States of America. The detail is commanded by Chief Master Sergeant Kenneth Monroe. Chief Monroe?
You can also salute. Jerry, coat. Ready, step.
Friends, please allow me to invite Mr. David Schroed, also from the Northside Baptist Church, as he performs our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. David?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Wow, is that something? David? Wow. Thank you. I think I heard you at the stadium over there. It was quite amazing. Thank you so much. I also want to recognize the Honor Guard team who have posted the colors today. Thank you so much for your help. They were from Joint National Guard Base McIntyre. That would be Chief Master Sergeant Kenneth Monroe, Staff Sergeant Lisa Prince, Staff Sergeant Kristen Sharp, Sergeant Gabrielle Cote, and Sergeant Felicia Smith. Thank you so much. God bless them. Before we progress any further into our program today, I would like to take a moment to remember those in uniform that have served in the cause of liberty and freedom. Behind me and in front of you is the very B-25 that crashed into Lake Greenwood on a training accident in all days but June 6, 1944. Luckily, all the crew survived. However, 4,070 miles away from here, free men in 12 allied nations were engaged in combat that would turn the tide of battle in Europe, D-Day itself. If one happened to survive the fighting that day or any other day until victory was won, many came home from duty abroad with memories and experiences difficult to forget. Yet sadly, some gave much more. Above the sands of Omaha Beach, the Normandy American Cemetery serves as the final resting place for 9,389 of our war dead. Hundreds of thousands more rest in peace around the globe, but in particular, 11 such American cemeteries from World War I and French countryside, the final resting of our war dead, the most of any nation. In memory of all those who have fallen throughout our nation's history, I'd ask you to please join me in a moment of silence, remembering those who have given that last full measure of devotion towards the maintenance of peace. Thank you. And now please kindly permit me the privilege to introduce our special guests and presenters for this unique program. Madame Anne-Laure Dejoncker, Consul General of France in Atlanta. The family and friends of Staff Sergeant Philip Bruce Cook, representative by grandson Mr. Gene Goebel. United States Congressman Joe Wilson of the South Carolina 2nd Congressional District. Representing United States Senator Lindsey Graham, Mr. William Smith. Representing United States Senator Tim Scott, Ms. Courtney Jackson. Senator Russell Ott, Senate District 26 of South Carolina, who is also representing Representative Micah Caskey, the 4th South Carolina House District 26. Representing the Governor of the Palmetto State, the Honorable Henry McMaster, South Carolina Secretary of the Veteran Affairs, Major General Todd B. McCaffrey. Brigadier General James Doc Chow, U.S. Air Force and South Carolina Air National Guard. Mr. Edward Bell, Director of Government Affairs for the South Carolina Department of Veteran Affairs. Mr. Rick Manti, United States Air Force. Mr. Nelson McLeod, President of the South Carolina chapter of the Battle of the Bulge Association. And Mr. Sean Dwyer, representing the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force. Members of the Northside Baptist Church, the Battle of the Bulge Association, and our host, the South Carolina Historic Aviation Foundation, and a lot of fellows that are dressed like me right behind me here are World War II reenactors and living historians that carry on the past to the present. Thank you, boys. And all veterans and active duty military present, notably Major General Lester D. Eisner, Assistant Adjutant General, South Carolina Army National Guard, and especially the Battle of the Bulge and World War II veteran, Mr. Vernon Brantley. Vernon? And I think there's one more, of course, Staff Sergeant Philip Bruce Cook. Now, ladies and gentlemen, kindly let me introduce our first of several featured speakers today, Mr. Gene Goebel. Like most post-war families, war stories were seldom spoke of. Life at home was just too busy to concentrate on much else than providing for and raising a family, and in turn building this country into the nation that it is today. As my original evidence gathering efforts were concentrated on Bruce's time in the service, outside of the immediate family structure, I honestly knew little about Bruce's early life and his life with the Cook family. To provide some insight into what that must have been like and part of Bruce's life growing up, the character of the man beyond that of his service, please kindly join me in welcoming the grandson of Mr. Cook, Mr. Gene Goebel.
Dave, if that's all that. Good afternoon. My name is Gene Goebel. My grandpa, and I'm very proud of that. Grandpa, thank you for showing this honor upon me. I hope I do it justice. It's a very anxious thing to try to condense 100 years into 6 minutes. Eric, I hope I don't blow up the program from the get-go. I want to start talking about, because it really sets the tone, the greatest generation. That will get mentioned a few times today, I'm sure, but it really defines who Grandpa is. I think everybody's familiar with that that refers generally to Americans born in the early 1900s, came of age during the Great Depression, fought in World War II. The qualities are often described resilience, quiet strength, duty, patriotism, sacrifice. They face hardships, but they answered the call of war and service. They often rushed to enlist. They literally saved the world. Then they came home and rebuilt the country. They turned in their weapons, but their service to the country was not over in any way that it just begun. Think about the world that we would live in had they not answered the call. Europe and Asia controlled by active regimes, suppressed freedom and liberty. Just think about our everyday freedoms that we enjoy, take for granted. That freedom was technical at a heavy price. Grandpa was lucky to return, and he did not. And I believe that those brave men and women would have still signed up even if they had known they were coming. Service, patriotism, selflessness, duty, honor, these were common in Grandpa's day and age. Not as always as common today. So I challenge us all to remember their sacrifice and think about what we have today because of what they sacrificed. Let's strive to keep their spirit to be principled of life. All right, so I'm going to try to condense a little short biography of 100 years into it. This is the challenging part, so hang with me. And I'm not even half Grandpa's age. Almost. So Grandpa was born in 1925 in small town Swansea, probably 10 miles west of here. He graduated in 1943. The war had already started. Of course, like many young men his age, he was anxious to enlist, so that's what he did. In 1944, he joined the Army Air Corps, was sent to Keesler Air Base in Mississippi for training. His dream was to become a P-38 pilot. Much to his dismay, however, he was washed out of flight school and assigned to gunnery school and learned to operate a bomb turret on the B-17. Grandpa was sent to England, and he performed 35 missions out of Malta Air Base in England, flying over France, Germany, Czechoslovakia, Holland, doing the famous daylight bombing missions against German infrastructure. There was a very high fatality rate. Completing all your missions was not a given. He's lucky to be sitting here. Before he left the military, Grandpa picked up the skill of watch repair. This would serve him well later in his civilian life as he opened a jewelry store and where he also repaired watches in downtown Lexington, which is also about 15 miles west of here. He operated that for 20 years until his retirement in 1983. Grandpa married Miss King McConnell in 1949. They had 2 children, Peggy and Phil, and they settled down in West Columbia. They were married happily for 30 plus years until her passing of cancer in 1982. Grandpa then remarried former Mary Cooper in 1983. welcomed stepchildren, Susan, my mother, and my uncle Buffet. Mary's husband, A.D., had also passed away from cancer in 1979. Grandpa and my grandmother were happily married until her death from cancer in 2011. And one other interesting tidbit makes it more amazing that he's here at 100 years old. Grandpa twice contracted tuberculosis, and he was in a sanatorium in 1950 and 1960, I believe, combined with that part of the year. So that's just extra incredible, and he still does as well as he does. So with my grandmother passing in 2011, you might think, you know, Grandpa would slow down and take it easy. Well, I think he stepped on the gas at that point. He never really retired. He just was able to transition to a time when he was able to do maybe a little bit more of what he loved. He had been a faithful, wonderful husband of mine. He was married for about 60 years. He took wonderful care of his family. I mentioned Peggy and Phil, my mother Susan, son Faye, grandchildren Jennifer, Allison, James, Chip, Shannon, Ashley, and myself. Numerous great-grandchildren, so I'll spare everybody. But suffice it to say, you can count on Grandpa to always have your back, whether it be repairing something that broke at your house, help with a chore, yard work, a social visit, and he was going to be at any special event that he could get to, which was pretty much all of it. He served his family well, and he still does. There's his church, Northside Baptist, member, faithful servant of Northside since I believe 1956. He first attended with his first wife Jean and Peggy and Phil, and that continued on when he remarried my grandmother Mary. He still co-teaches his Sunday school class named Forever Faithful Friends, and as was mentioned previously, he is, I think without question, the #1 fan of Northside sporting events. He's going to be there, don't rain or shine. He's got numerous hobbies that keep him busy. He loves to repair lawnmowers. He has a shop in his backyard that most have been taken away, but for years and years there was 3 or 4 broken down at various stages. Grandpa attended every year, I believe, the Lexington Technology Center had a fallen engine repair class, and gosh, I don't know how many years he went in a row, but I think he just enjoyed the social aspect. He probably could have taught the class at the end. Repairing watches, even after he got out of the jewelry business, he would repair friends' watches also in his shop in his backyard. Gardener, he's got a lovely, probably at least an acre spot outside, and he loves to grow his beans and tomatoes and cantaloupes and figs and give them away. He's also a taxi service. Grandpa, yes, he still drives, and he's been known to take the old folks through their doctor's appointments. He's always there to serve. No wrecks that I'm aware of. So in summary, he does not stand still. Remember that the greatest generation, great service. Some things you just can't shake. I believe that's why he's made it to the age that he has. He stayed busy and he served. We can all learn from that. He has been and is still a selfless helper. You know you've got somebody that is dependable, honorable, and he's going to be there for you. He's been steady. He's a rock. He really is, for 100 years. So the last thing I want to kind of end on is add a little more color to my relationship with Grandpa. I mentioned that my grandmother, they were both widowed and remarried in 1983. But A.D. Cooper was my biological grandfather. He passed away in 1979. And Grandpa's first wife, Jean, passed away in 82. So they were widowers, and God allowed them to come together and enjoy the remainder of their lives together. But A.D. and my grandmother Mary moved to West Columbia in 1957. they also began attending Northside with Grandpa and his wife Jean. And AD and Grandpa quickly became best friends. Interestingly, AD was also a World War II veteran that served in the Navy Pacific Theater. Those two couples are part of a broader group of families in Northside called the Drifters, and they regularly vacation together. They camped at Lake Murray. I think they went out west on trips. They were just very, very tight. My mom spoke a lot about this in her formative years, how much it meant to her. And another interesting fact, Aunt Peggy was actually a flower girl at my parents' wedding in 1968. So, but when Grandpa came into our lives, we had lost a great man. My grandpa, who I just have to thank him. But we got, the grandpa that we had lost, and he filled a very large void in my life. But the point I want to make here is about the greatest generation, trying to draw back service and selflessness. There's a song, y'all know country music, some of y'all may be familiar with. When I think about Grandpa and what he did, it's not a direct correlation, but there's a song by Brad Paisley called The Daddy Didn't Have to Be. And it talks about a single mom. She's worried she won't find another man because she'll find out about the family and the small kid run away. So it's not a direct correlation. But I think about, Grandpa took on, 2 new stepkids, their grandkids, and all the shenanigans that go along with that. And, he stepped up, and he didn't have to. And, I got the, he supported and loved his adopted family, which I'm a part of, as well as I could have ever have hoped for. I've had regret of not meeting AD, my biological grandfather, but, Grandpa's my grandfather. And I couldn't imagine, although I've heard a lot of great things about my biological grandfather, he could have been any better. So, thank you. All right. Grandpa, you chose to serve your country. You chose to serve your family. You chose to serve your friends. You chose to serve your community. And you chose, most importantly, to serve God. And you still do. And that's amazing. And I love you. And we love you. And you and your generation will truly the best of us. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Gene. I appreciate you sharing all the facts and unknown secrets about Grandpa. I tell you, I've seen that for the last 3 days because I've been with your grandfather, and it's just an amazing family, so thank you. And how blessed you and your families have been to have such a fine example for man to emulate. As we climb into our program this afternoon, it's indeed my pleasure to welcome a fixture in military and medical community here in Columbia, and all across the United States for that matter. Serving our great country in uniform since December of 1984, his duties have spanned from the role of a traditional physician and flight surgeon to a more recent role as a special assistant to the director of the Air National Guard at the Pentagon. In his private life, he has transformed his passion into healing into a successful private practice in dermatology, a champion in helping impoverished nations by improving their medical expertise. He has organized several relief missions abroad, bringing much needed care to those in dire need. Here at home, and if the need should ever arise, and let's hope that it never does, he has been instrumental in developing the National Strategic Pharmaceutical Stockpile Program at McIntyre Joint National Guard Base. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming today's keynote speaker of this ceremony, Brigadier General retired James Chow.
Thank you, Eric. That was a very kind introduction. I tell folks, when I get a little nervous, especially in public speaking, my far eastern South Carolina accent comes out. If you guys have any issue understanding me, please raise your hand. So I can repeat that. Here you go, got a hand. And also for all those people sitting in the back under the sun, our clinic is open. Cars, feel free to pick one up on the way home. I really recommend you probably should sit a little closer, wear a hat, or you have some sunscreen on. Well, good afternoon. Madame Deschantel, Honorable Mr. Wilson, and God, I can keep going down the line to Secretary, all the distinguished guests, retired military officers, fellow veterans, family and friends, and ladies and gentlemen. It really is indeed a great honor to speak on this occasion. I came to this country 50 years ago, actually 54 now. I would never imagine I can be sitting here speaking to this group here. When I came, I remember the high school principal asked me and said, "Hey, Chow, how much English do you know?" I said, "Good morning. This is a dog. This is a cat." We have a long way to go. Before we came, my parents, both of them were physicians, they were medical missionaries in North Africa, specifically in Libya. I grew up in the Sahara Desert. It was actually a very remarkable childhood because I had a chance to expose to different cultures, different languages, and I was seeing how the world or geopolitical changes. But most importantly, I witnessed firsthand the dark side and some bright side of humanity. Throughout our childhood, we read about America, because that was like American movie, John Wayne, you know. That's something we always want to relate to. We learned about the promises and success of the nation. So I came here during high school as an exchange student, I mentioned earlier, through hard work, determination, but most importantly, the opportunity that was available. It allows me to went to some of the finest schools and institutions in America, and also allow me to serve this country in uniform. As a grateful immigrant, I put on the uniform and served the country for 30 years. I remember they approached me because I had some special skill they were interested in. They said, "Hey, Chow, we are going to give you a tuition so you can go to school for free." I said, "Oh, I know, that must be a trick. You know what? I'm an immigrant. I want to serve. I don't want anything in return. Only thing I worry about is the 6-year commitment." I remember the recruiter told me, "Don't worry about the 6-year recruitment obligation. If you don't like it, we just tear up the contract. You get to go home." So during this time, my father also often spoke of his experiences in China during the Japanese occupation. He served in the underground. I know the French can really relate to that. And unfortunately, during one occasion, he became the guest of the Japanese emperor. So he was in prison. But even in those dark days, through the secret messages that were sent, it was an American first gave the people there the first glimpse of hope. They were the American Doolittle Raiders company right here, this spot, and also down in Metro Airport. They were trained here, worked out of here, they struck Japan and showed that tyranny can be challenged. And then it was the American volunteer group, the famous Flying Tigers, flying their P-40s. They're the one come to the aid of China and their allies against the Axis aggression. Matter of fact, Congressman Joe Wilson's father was among those brave men serving in the AVG, the American Volunteer Group. These young men who helped in freedom and stand against aggression around the world. They gave hope, they gave secure freedom and independence for others. These are the men and women called the greatest generation that Mr. Prothoff talked about. And it wasn't long after I got here, they came to understanding something very important. The success of America was built by the greatest generation. When freedom was threatened, they answered. They faced overwhelming odds and stood firm in the defense of liberty. And they didn't ask for recognition, they just stood up and answered the call. Bruce, I looked it up. They said the population of Swansea in South Carolina in 1943 was 800. Now, my wife also came from a small town called Rich Spring. I really wonder that 800 is a real number. Does that include the cows and the horses? Or that's actually just a group? I was just curious how many people was in your graduating class. So during his service, of course, we all know from the famous 379 Bomber Group, 35 missions. I've flown a few missions, but I had a heated suit. The cockpit was very nice and warm. I could not imagine what's it like to volunteer to fly in the most dangerous position and at minus 40 degrees. Every mission, he carried the possibility he will never come back or he could be badly injured. The duty demanded his skill, discipline, extraordinary courage. He performed the duty not for the recognition, not for the glory, because it was the right thing to do. And it's told by your grandson, after you came home, you built a career, you raised a family, you contribute greatly to our community, and you lived the American dream. And I am one of the person, and many of us here can appreciate what you have done for all of us. Well, I had the privilege of taking care of Bruce for the 25 years. But during this, of course, I served as a reservist. I went to TDY a good bit. I went overseas 11 times because having a private practice, you always worry that you leave, you come back, all your business is gone, your patients are gone. But that man there, plus many, I have to say, just about all my patients, they will say, Doc, go take care of our country. I'll be right here waiting for you when you come home. And that was such a true statement. Every time I come home, I never had to worry that I would have business. As a result, we're very fortunate to have the largest private dermatology group in South Carolina because we have support of patriotic South Carolinian, all of you sitting here. We thank you for that. Well, just to finish up, you continue to be an inspiration for me and for all of us. I can remember it was only less than 10 years ago when we had our D-Day anniversary. We had 29 World War II veterans. I think I took care of 25 of the 28. Now there are fewer and fewer. And I have to tell you, you sure don't look 100 years old, but I know he is because I know his record and I had examined him. He really is 100 years old. Your legacy of service and bravery lives on today, not just here, but I wore these boots. My wife said, how could you wear your combat boots with your suit? These are the last time I wore these boots, I was in Kandahar, Afghanistan. And I can assure you, the men and women in uniform today, they are still carrying on your tradition, the greatest generation. You have set example, not just for the past, for the present, but for the future of America. Well, I think I lost my page. But the bottom line is, I cannot say enough. Your legacy of service and bravery live on for all of us forever. Sergeant, what should I say, clarify, Staff Sergeant Cook, we thank you, we honor you, we always remember your generation, what you gave to our nation and the rest of the free world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless.
Thank you, General Shell. I'm not sure what to call you. Doctor, General. Okay, General it is. Thank you so much for your kind words for Bruce and all the greatest generation. In developing this program over the last few months, and it's been since September of last year that all of this started to take shape. Sorry it's taken this long, Bruce, but I hope it's well worth it. Mr. Cook brought to my attention over those past few months several people who have played an important part in his life in telling his military history and storied legacy. All were keen in saying a few words to congratulate Mr. Cook, and especially on this day of celebration and remembrance. Our next speaker began his military service at the same time as our nation's 200th anniversary, our basic bicentennial. A graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, he initially served in the Air Force for 7 years of active duty, culminating in service as an F-4 Phantom flight instructor. After moving to South Carolina and still itching to fly, in 1982, he joined the South Carolina Air National Guard, where he taught fellow aviators how to master the F-16 Fighter Falcon. In 1990, he was deployed to the Middle East during Operation Desert Storm, where he earned multiple air medals, including the DFC, the Distinguished Flying Cross. In 1997, he retired from 21 years of military service as Lieutenant Colonel. A command pilot of over 10,000 hours of flying time in various military and civilian aircraft. As part of giving back to those that serve, he has been offering free airplane rides for over 40 years. During one of those flights, he met Bruce Cook, and he has been his friend ever since. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome Mr. Rick Mantak.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here. As Eric said, I've come to know Bruce real well. We did a World War II tribute last year in Camden for all the World War II guys that we could find, and there's not a lot of them. They have to be pretty much 100 years old and be able to get under their own power. He came out and he jumped in the Stearman that I have, and he flew it like Steve Canyon. He's just a natural warrior and did a wonderful job. He still drives his own car. He is absolutely one of my heroes. I think he's one of the greatest guys ever. So I'm so proud to be here, tribute to him. I'd like to begin by thanking Bruce Cook for his service and his sacrifice, and to the nation of France for recognizing that service through the Legion of Honor. I went and read up a little bit about it. This honor has been going on now for over 220 years, and it's very special. There's only thousands of people, not a lot, that have gotten this medal, and he's one of them. I'd also like to thank his family, especially his son and his daughter, for being here today to support him and share in this moment. That kind of presence says a lot. Now, I'll be honest, when I first heard that Bruce was the B-17 belly gunner, my first thought was that might be one of the last jobs on earth I'll volunteer for. Sit in a glass ball underneath an airplane thousands of feet in the air, freezing temperatures, nothing but sky and enemy fire all around you. It takes a level of courage most of us can't even fully understand. As a fellow combat veteran, I've flown 36 combat missions, in Desert Storm and F-16s. I can say that every generation of service has its challenges, but some roles and some moments in history stand apart. After flying these missions over Europe in the B-17, that was one of them. There's a bond between those who have served and that doesn't recognize a lot of explanation. You don't need to know every detail of someone's story to recognize what it took. While our experiences were in very different times, there's a shared understanding of what it means to step forward, do your job, and trust the people around you. Bruce, at 100 years old, you are more than a veteran. You are a living connection to a defining moment in our history. The missions you flew and the risks you took helped shape the world that we are living in today. And just as important is everything that came after that, because service doesn't end when the uniform comes off. It continues on how you live, how you lead, and the example you set for those around you, and in the family that stands beside you. For those of us who have served since we walked the path made possible by you and your generation, the freedoms we enjoy today were built on the shoulders of men like you who did extraordinary, difficult things, often without expecting recognition. Again, the finest definition of anybody is what they do when nobody's looking. And all you got to do is look at his life, look at his family, look at what they've got to say about him. He's exemplary in every category. So today this medal is more than well deserved. It's a thank you from the nation. It's a thank you from generations. And it's a reminder to all those what real courage looks like. And from one veteran to another, I'm really glad it was you in that glass ball and not me. Thank you, Bruce, for your service, your sacrifice, the life you've lived since. Please, everyone, pray for our soldiers that are overseas right now in harm's way. We are all Americans, and we are all beneficiaries of their service. I've got a special gift here for both of them. It's from France. It's a bottle of Grand, let me see, make sure I get this thing right. I'm going to try to say it. Pommier from France. It's cognac, and it's a little bit different that most of you have never seen anything like this. It's got a cigar in the middle of it. So whenever the times are special and right, you guys can take that cigar and smoke it and have you a good bottle of cognac. And from a great nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for your continued service for those that serve. I know those air flights, I've been up in one myself. I can't thank you enough for doing that. For sure. You weren't flying though. Our next speaker is the current president of the South Carolina chapter of the Battle of the Bulge Association. Veteran of the United States Air Force, the South Carolina Army National Guard, and the South Carolina Air National Guard. He retired as the Lieutenant Colonel as the commander of the 169th Civil Engineer Squadron. With deep appreciation for those that sacrificed during the times of war and peace, his love for history, coupled with a family tie to the famous Battle of the Winter of 1944, makes him well suited for this lead role within the Battle of the Bulge Association. That family tie is his father-in-law, the late Private First Class Claude Motley. PFC Motley served in Company M, 119th Infantry Regiment of the 30th Infantry Division. And during that 6-week-long battle, not only did PFC Motley endure enemy attacks, but some of the most brutal weather conditions in nearly a century. In recognition of PFC Motley and his service, and for his daughter Robin also with us here today, we honor Mr. Cook. Please kindly welcome the president of the South Carolina chapter of the Battle of the Bulge Association, Mr. Nelson McCarthy.
Seem to have lost my papers too. George, do you have them? Why the Battle of the Bulge? The Battle of the Bulge was what? The Battle of the Bulge was the greatest battle that the American fighting man has ever fought. 700,000 people, 8,000 people killed. The numbers vary a lot, but a very important thing, very important time in our life, it was fought by men like Claude Motley from Blaney, South Carolina, and Bruce Cook from Swansea, South Carolina, who stood forward and did things that needed to be done. Vern Brantley also. I'm going to do things a little differently here. How many, we've asked this question before, but how many Army veterans do we have in the room?
How many Air Force veterans? How many Army Air Corps veterans? I think we got one. How many people who are 100 years old or more? I think we got 2. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Y'all are wonderful folks. You continue to inspire us in our Battle of the Bulge Association. And Columbia, this is a very patriotic group we've got here. And I just want to say that you continue to inspire us. Bruce, we've said thank you. And all we can do is say thank you some more. Thank you so much for what you've done for us and for this country.
Thank you very much, Nelson. We were told there would be no math. Since his early youth, Mr. Sean O'Dwyer has maintained a deep interest in the Second World War and taking his passion to the past. Wait for that airplane to shut itself down. Gas is expensive. Turn that thing on. No, he's on his way out. Never mind. Since his early youth, Mr. Sean O'Dwyer has maintained a deep interest in the Second World War. And taking that passion to the next level, at the University of Florida, he earned a Master in Arts in American History. Over the past decade, Sean has interviewed over 200 World War II veterans, including Staff Sergeant Bruce Cook. He currently serves as the Education Program Manager at the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force Museum in Pooler, Georgia, just a few hours down the track here along Interstate 95. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome Mr. Sean O'Dwyer.
Thank you, Eric, for inviting me to speak. You really built the anticipation with that delay there with the aircraft. So I'll try to do you justice, but it's been a privilege. It's a privilege to be here to celebrate a good friend of mine, Sergeant Bruce Cook, on the occasion of him receiving the prestigious honor. I first met Bruce about 2 years ago when he came for a tour with his Veteran of Valor Bulge chapter, as many of whom are here today. Bruce, then aged 98, was recounting story after story after story to us. Many of whom I'm sure you've heard today and will hear later. And of course, we were all hanging on by the edge of our seats on every word of this. When we reached the ball turret on the underbelly of the museum's B-17, like the one at the back of the hangar, of course, even more stories came. Bruce even told us a surprising opinion of his, that he found the ball turret to be, and I quote, pretty comfortable. Comfortable? Right. The students I lead at the museum on tours, they had the same reaction. Anyway, maybe to prove that to us, he casually moved his walker to the side, which, by the way, he only uses for longer walks. And I think usually after some resistance, and hoisted himself back up into the ball turret at 98 years old. Amazing to see. Bruce has been so generous with sharing his perspective, not just with me, but with many other students of history, and those curious about a life well lived. I think it is very well lived. We're all indebted to you for that, Bruce, in addition to your service in history's darkest hours. On behalf of all of your friends at the Mighty 8th and those joining us today, congratulations to you, sir, on this most deserving honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And if you've not been to the museum down in Pooler, I really encourage you to go there. It's well done, well laid out. And as a living historian of the World War II era, there are certain places in that museum that make you feel immersed within an environment of 1944-45. So it's a great vacation to go down there, and one of the featured elements there on the museum floor is the Memphis Belle, a B-17 aircraft. So it's a great vacation to go down there, and if you're on your way to Florida, stop by there at that museum. You will not regret it. From the moment in which our Revolutionary War Minutemen fired the first shots at Lexington and Concord in 1775, generations of stout patriots have answered our nation's call, moments in time which have brought forth each generation of young men and women to defend liberty and freedom. In our time, there are millions of Americans alive today that remember where they were when they first heard the news of the attack at Pearl Harbor, and hundreds of millions of more that could say where they were on September 11th. These two examples, too many in our nation's history, have served to rally our country's citizens to action. Many of those that did answer the call followed a long line of family members that also served. Whether that service took place in times of war or peace, oftentimes a forebear's commitment served as the catalyst and inspiration to join in their footsteps, to follow their legacy, a legacy to be honored and continued. Inspired by that very legacy of service in his own family and his father, Hugh Wilson, a member of the Flying Tigers in World War II, our next speaker chose to serve our great country for 31 years in uniform. Although the design and fabric of those uniforms has significantly changed since that first woven wool was spun for the Minutemen of the American Revolution, the stitches of character that bind them are much like that of today, taut and unyielding. As a member of Congress, he is a member of several vital committees, and presently serving on the Committee of Armed Forces, as part of a member of the Subcommittee on Readiness and Strategic Forces. Domestically speaking, he also serves on the Committee on Education and the Workforce, and as part of, a member of the Subcommittee on Health, Employment, Labor, and Pensions. As a member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, he presently serves on a subcommittee in Europe and chairs the subcommittee on the Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia, all the while also serving as the chair of the U.S. Helsinki Commission, which at its core looks to increase cooperation between the United States and European nations, including our longest ally, France, reflecting upon the inspiration and enduring legacy of the greatest generation and America's relationship between France and our allies across the globe, coupled with the overall patriotism which flows within the veins of every liberty-loving citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome United States Congressman Joe Wilson.
And ladies and gentlemen and fellow patriots and the Aviation Foundation, gosh, it's so inspiring to be here with you and humbling to be here with Staff Sergeant Bruce Cook and so many people who have made a difference for our country. And as we hear the sound of freedom go by, it's such an honor for me in that I know truly the privilege of Bruce Cook. With the Lexington County Military History Museum, we actually visited Milton Hall and Lakenheath. We visited the 8th Air Force bases of East Anglia. And during World War II, East Anglia was the equivalent of a aircraft carrier of bombing of the German targets across Europe to liberate Europe. And the people there were very, very brave. And I, particularly the 8th Air Force, how courageous they were. My dad, having served in the Flying Tigers, told me how impressed he was about the persons who served in the 8th Air Force, because the anti-aircraft capability, as has been identified by Rick, being in a ball turret, the anti-aircraft capability in Europe was significantly more dangerous than what was faced in Asia. And my dad just had such appreciation for the people of the 8th Air Force. And then I'm also grateful to be here today. I was born with appreciation of France, my French heritage through the Huguenot traditions. My dad's middle name was DeVoe. My grandmother was a Bueno. And so over and over again, I grew up in the holy city of Charleston with such an appreciation of the French ability to provide for our freedom of our country. And I want to thank you. And of course, we all know that with the Marquis de Lafayette arriving in Georgetown, South Carolina, to begin the revolution, our first ally, and how significant his service was, how significant the maritime provisions were for our liberation. And then we also have the example of Francis Marion, a French Huguenot, the Swamp Fox, and how extraordinary his leadership. And it was really interesting, Consul General, that I was working to help raise funds for a statue of Francis Marion to be placed in Marion Park in Washington, and I had to be corrected. And that is, there was some people, this would be the first statue to a French Huguenot in the District of Columbia. And so I very cheerfully corrected me and said, no, that wouldn't necessarily be true. George Washington had French Huguenot hearing. And so over and over again, we can go back and trace the connection that we have and love and affection that we have for America's first ally. And additionally, as in Congress, I'm grateful to be the co-chair of the French Caucus, and I've had just wonderful experiences to be with members of the National Assembly, and just over and over again, it's been an exciting opportunity to work with our French allies. And in honor of this today, for Staff Sergeant Bruce Cook, I have this week placed, and Gene, you'll like this, it's virtually a replica of everything that you said, plus more. And so permanently to be recognized in the history of the United States in the congressional record, a tribute to Staff Sergeant Bruce Cook. So I'm grateful to present that. And additionally, a certificate of special congressional recognition presented to Staff Sergeant Bruce Cook in recognition of outstanding and invaluable service to the community by Joe Wilson on behalf of the Congress of the United States. God bless everyone.
Thank you, Congressman Wilson. Thank you so much. After earning his bachelor's degree in biology at Howard Payne University in Texas, our next speaker enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1992. Rising through the ranks from recruit to first sergeant over the span of the next 20 years, his overseas postings in Korea, Germany, and Iraq, where his training as a combat medic afforded him the responsibility of rendering immediate aid to a fallen comrade and preparing that wounded warrior for evacuation off the battlefield. In his private life beyond the service, he has taken that passion of helping others by proudly working for Senator Lindsey Graham's office here in Columbia. Since May of 2018, it has become his honor to take care of constituents needing assistance from the Department of Veteran Affairs and military matters in 14 South Carolina counties. Falling under that umbrella is Fort Jackson, Shaw Air Force Base, McIntyre Joint Air Guard Base, McCready Training Center, and the Savannah River site under the Department of Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, representing Senator Lindsey Graham, Mr. William Smith.
Good afternoon, everybody. I could use my first sergeant voice, hopefully not blow everybody's ears out. But, I've had the pleasure to meet Mr. Cook 3 times now, and I could probably sit and talk to him for the rest of the day and tomorrow night. So it's an honor to be here, sir. It's an honor to see you get the recognition that you so generously deserve. And I've got a letter from Senator Graham for you on this day. It says, Staff Sergeant Cook, it's my honor to congratulate you on being awarded, I'm going to say the French Legion d'Honneur Award, because it's in French and I will mess it up pretty quick. Medal in recognition of your extraordinary service during World War II, flying 35 combat missions as a member of the U.S. Army Air Forces. You displayed remarkable courage in defense of freedom. This prestigious award reflects not only the gratitude of the French people, but also the deep appreciation of your own nation. Your service is an enduring testament to bravery, and it remains an inspiration to all who cherish the freedoms you helped secure. Again, congratulations on this occasion, and thank you for your service to our great country. Sincerely, Lindsey O'Brien, United States Senator.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for your service on the battlefield. Thank you. For a little over a decade, Ms. Courtney Jackson has served the citizens of the Midlands and Piedmont areas of the state of South Carolina as Senator Tim Scott's regional director. In that role, she provides an avenue to aid constituents on matters with federal government, as well as handling veteran affairs and military casework. Within that role, she has been overseeing the Senator's Service Academy nominations, vital in assuring that our nation's service academies receive the best possible candidates. In her work prior to joining Senator Scott's office, she also served within the Attorney General's office and within the Office of the Candidate for Congress, Joe Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, representing Senator Tim Scott, Ms. Courtney Jackson.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here today representing Senator Scott. And for those who know, Senator Scott's a big fan of bold, colorful socks, and I know he would be a big fan of yours today. I also have a letter from Senator Scott that I would just like to read out to you. Dear Staff Sergeant Cook, congratulations on the receipt of the French Legion of Honor. This is a well-deserved distinction and a testament to your service during the European theater. On behalf of two grateful nations, the United States of America and France, I want to thank you for your service and the wounds that you bear from the Second World War. Together, let us remember those who offer their lives in service to preserve the rights of many. Be assured, our memory of these sacrifices will never fade. We are indebted to you for this service in defense of the liberty we hold so dear. Please accept my best wishes and let me know if there's anything I can do. Sincerely, Senator Scott.
Thank you, Courtney. Representing Senate District 26 of South Carolina State Legislature, comprising Calhoun, Lexington, and Richland counties, the State Senator Russell Lott. A lifelong resident and his second-year state senator, he spends part of that time serving on the Family and Veteran Services Committee. Prior to serving in the Senate, he also served in the South Carolina State House of Representatives for a little bit more than a decade. In reading about him online, I would characterize his work ethic and dedication to his constituents as one of salt of the earth. With a primary focus on education, business, healthcare, he has earned a reputation of working hard, not only for who he represents, but also in his private life of growing corn, cotton, and soybeans on his family farm. To share his regards and present a combined Senate and House proclamation honoring Mr. Cook, he is here to represent State Representative Mike Kakaski of House District 89, who unfortunately cannot be with us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly welcome Senator Russell Lott.
Good afternoon. Let me just start by saying what a blessing it is to be able to be here with each and every one of you today. It has been really special listening to all of the remarks from everyone. Mr. Bruce, you are truly loved. So I truly am humbled to just be here and be a small part of this. I'm not surprised though. If you heard, I'm from Calhoun County, but more specifically the horse's neck of Calhoun County. So I too am a Swansea Tiger. Graduated a little bit after you, but very proud to be there and and Pastor Kathy Lord tried to teach me algebra when I was at Swansea. So Mr. Cruz, Kathy Lord from Northside has told me all about you over and over again, and all of her stories have been true. So it is truly a big deal to be here in the presence of a hero. I'm truly honoring you for all that you deserve and what you have meant to our country. But for me, what I am most impressed with are the 80 years after that. And I just have to say, Gene, it's not easy to stand up and talk about someone you love and care very much about in front of people, but you did a great job. And you honored your grandfather and your family very much for that. And so, you know, as a senator and you being my constituent, it just makes me very proud that you did what you did for our country, but then you came home and lived a life that I think we all could aspire to live. Starting a business, raising a family, being a great community leader, Mr. Bruce, is what it truly is all about. And I think that is certainly what needs to be remembered most, first and foremost. And so on behalf of a grateful state, on behalf of myself, and on behalf of being a father of 2 boys that get to live in the greatest country in the world, sincerely, truly, and deeply, thank you for all that you mean to each and every one of us today. And I say that on behalf, again, of Representative Micah Caskey, who is a veteran as well, former Marine, or always a Marine, was not able to be here today, but certainly wanted me to send his appreciation to you as well. And to our friend from France, thank you so much for honoring Mr. Bruce in this way. Thank y'all so much. And I should have said, this thing's got to talk like you. If y'all were noticing, it fell over a little while and it survived. So I think this is good.
Thank you so much. Pretty soon the anticipated moment will be arrived, but we have one more speaker. Reporting directly to Governor McMaster, Major General retired Todd B. McCaffrey presently serves as South Carolina Secretary of Veteran Affairs. In that role, beyond advocating for the state and the maintenance of base presence within the state, his focus looks to ensure that those that serve on bases have a strong and prosperous family life while serving. And for those who have retired into veteran status, providing opportunities so those retired warriors can harness their acquired skills for the benefit of every citizen that calls South Carolina home. A 1986 West Point graduate, following 34 years in the United States Army, he closed his active duty military service as Chief of Staff of the United States Africa Command. In between, General McCaffrey rose to the ranks of the officer corps. He commanded units of all echelons, that means squad level all the way through division. As division commander, he gained a lasting respect for service and sacrifice of our nation's citizen soldiers. His other assignments included service as Chief of Staff for 2 4-star commanders and as a deputy commander of the U.S. Army Pacific, where he supervised the United States Army operations across the Pacific realm. As a combat leader, he earned the coveted Combat Infantryman's Badge and a 3-time recipient of the Army's Distinguished Service Medal and several Bronze Star medals for meritorious service in combat. To present Mr. Cook a letter of congratulations on behalf of the Governor of South Carolina, Henry McMaster, please welcome Secretary of Foreign Affairs for the state of South Carolina, Major General Todd McCaffrey.
Thank you, Eric, for the introduction. It's very kind. I appreciate it. And it's my great honor to represent Governor McMaster here today. He sends both his gratitude for Mr. Cook's service and his congratulations for the receipt of this great honor today. And I was noting as one of the speakers came up that I read Bruce Cook's biography before this, and I'll tell you, I knew this before, but I'll walk away again. There is no doubt why this is and remains the nation's greatest generation. The selflessness, the valor, the patriotism showed by him, his fellow aviators, and frankly, the 383,000 veterans that call South Carolina home. It's the stuff that legends are made of. But this was no legend. This was reality. This occurred. This is history, and we are better for it. South Carolina is grateful for the service of men and women like Philip Bruce Cook. He has helped shape this state and set the course that has allowed this nation to be the greatest amongst all nations. It's my great privilege to be able to share a letter from the Government Master, which I'll briefly read here to Mr. Cook. Dear Staff Sergeant Cook, it is a pleasure to congratulate you on your nomination to the rank of Chevalier in the Order National de Légion d'Honneur, the highest distinction awarded by the French government in recognition of your role in the liberation of France more than 80 years ago. As a native South Carolinian, you have exemplified the courage, sacrifice, and unwavering sense of duty that defines our people. Through your service to the United States Army during World War II, you helped defend freedom on the global stage and secure the liberties we cherish today. Thank you for answering the call to serve, and congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Peggy and I send you our very best as you go forward. Yours very truly, Henry Garvin, McMaster, Governor. Thank you, sir, for your service.
Thank you very much, Major General McCaffrey. Appreciate your kind words and sentiments from the governor. Appreciate you being here with us today. Thank you. Now, I'm indeed honored to have the privilege of introducing Consul General Anne-Laure Dejonquet. In pursuit of academic excellence early in life, she attended, and I know that I will butcher this, and I am so sorry, but I'll do my best. École normale supérieure. Is that close? Well, for those that have no idea what I just said, it is one of the most well-known and prestigious educational institutions in France due to its impeccably high standards and robust selection process in allowing students to attend it. Its historical role within France itself, and the influence within French society. Following her formative preparatory studies there, she pursued further academic achievements by attending the French National School of Administration. And you'll have to help me with this one, Sciences Po? Sciences Po, I think that's correct, or Sciences Po. And what that means is political science. Academic achievements by attending the French, in Paris, ranked number 3 in the world behind Harvard and Oxford in political studies. And the University of Paris-Sorbonne, where she obtained a master's degree in the history of international relations. Beginning her diplomatic career in Paris in 2006, she was accepted into the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs, serving as a legal consulate specializing in European Union law within the ministry's Legal Affairs Department through 2009. From 2010 through 2012, she took on a new and important role as a desk officer for nuclear disarmament within the French Ministry's Department of Strategic Affairs. Abroad, in 2012 through 2015, she has served as the political counselor on domestic and African policy issues at the Embassy of France in Pretoria, South Africa, and then was assigned to the Embassy in France in New Delhi, India, from 2015 through 2017, serving as the head of the Press and Communications Office there. In 2018, she returned to Paris, serving as the Deputy Director of the European Union Law and International Economic Law Division and Legal Affairs Department of the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs until being assigned to the French Consulate in Havana in August of 2022. In that role, she helps guide and shape relations between France and the United States, and in particular representing the French government within the states of Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Mesdames and Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my privilege to welcome to the city of Columbia, South Carolina, and the home of the South Carolina Historic Aviation Foundation, the Consul General of France in Atlanta, Georgia, and Laura Deschapelles.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Representative Wilson, distinguished elected officials, distinguished speakers and guests, family and friend of Staff Surgeon Philip Bruce Cook, and most important of all, dear veteran, Mr. Philip Bruce Cook. Today I'm deeply honored to fulfill one of my most important duties as the Consul General of France in Atlanta, to pay tribute to a war hero who helped liberate my country and Europe from tyranny 82 years ago. Before recounting the full measure of your accomplishments, Mr. Cook, I would like to thank your family and friends who are in attendance today to show their support and admiration, as well as all those who have helped organize this beautiful ceremony, with a very, very special thank you to Mr. Eric Montgomery. The National Order of the Legion of Honor was created by Emperor Napoleon in 1802 to recognize individuals who have served France or the ideals it upholds. The medal is France's most prestigious order, and it's bestowed on French citizens as well as foreign nationals, including veterans such as you, Mr. Philip Bruce Cook, such as the Americans who risked their lives during World War II fighting on French soil. Staff Sergeant Cook, you are one such veteran. 8 decades ago, you risked your life, you risked everything in the name of freedom to go to Europe and help liberate my country. Thanks to you, thanks to your brothers in arms, democracy prevailed over barbarism. Today, we remember that our two countries owe each other their very existence as free nations. Throughout history, our nations have supported one another in defending the core values we share: liberty, democracy, and justice. 250 years ago, France stood with the American people in their fight for independence. As the United States' oldest ally, France is proud this year to join the United States in celebrating the 250th anniversary of American independence. During World War I, the United States stood by France, and during World War II, America saved us from the darkest hours of our history. Our countries have faced many international challenges and threats together to this day, an enduring proof of what we can achieve when we join forces in a partnership rooted in mutual respect, trust, and shared strategic vision. Staff Sergeant Cook, you embody this shared French-American history. You illustrated with your courage the friendship and shared values that so profoundly bind our two nations. Mr. Cook, you are a true hero. Your example gives us inspiration for the future, and your legacy provides a moral compass for generations to come. In recognition of your heroic actions,
and extraordinary accomplishments. The President of the French Republic, Emmanuel Macron, nominated you to the Legion of Honor with the rank of Knight. The French people will never forget what you helped do to restore our freedom. And today we also remember the ultimate sacrifice of so many of your comrades who rest on French soil. They will remain forever in our hearts. Before officially bestowing the decoration, France's highest honor, I would like to highlight Staff Sergeant Cook's heroic deeds in France during World War II. Philip Bruce Cook enlisted in the United States Army Air Forces in 1943 at just 17 years old, answering his country's call during one of history's darkest hours. Trained as an aerial gunner, he was deployed to England and assigned to the 524th Bomb Squadron, 379th Bomb Group, 8th Air Force, based in Cambridgeshire. Staff Sergeant Cook completed 35 combat missions over Nazi-occupied Europe aboard a B-17 Flying Fortress, serving as a bull turret gunner, as we heard, one of the most exposed and dangerous positions on the aircraft. He supported major campaigns including Normandy, northern France, the Ardennes, and the Rhineland, operations that proved decisive in the liberation of France and Europe. His courage and dedication helped make the 379th Bomb Group one of the most effective bomber units during the war. After completing his combat mission, Staff Sergeant Cook returned to the United States, where he trained new gunners until his honorable discharge in October 1945. For his bravery in service, he was awarded the Air Medal with 5 oak leaf clusters, the Army Good Conduct Medal, the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 4 campaign stars, and the World War II Victory Medal. It is my great honor to add the French Legion of Honor to Staff Sergeant Cook's list of accolades in recognition of sacrifice. I will now bestow the decoration.
Merci, Becky.
Monsieur Philippe Bruce Cook, au nom du président de la République française, Emmanuel Macron, je vous remets les insignes de chevalier dans l'ordre national de la Légion d'honneur.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, in celebration of this historic moment and 250 years of friendship between the United States and the Republic of France, please rise if you are able, as Mesdames Catherine Neil and Kristen Kate. Susan Kate from the French Alliance in Colombia will lead us in the singing of La Marseillaise, the French national anthem. So, ladies. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Thank you so much. Madam Neal is the daughter of World War II veteran Corporal William Reed Wiley, United States Army 83rd General Hospital, with wartime service in England and post-war service in France, while Susan's father, Corporal Millard Kate, served in both the United States Army and Marines prior to America entering World War II. In her father's latter service, he was part of the U.S. Marine onboard ship detachment of the USS Yorktown CB-5 up until 1940. That ship was later sunk in the South Pacific. Thank you, ladies, for your contributions today. A couple quick announcements before I go into my final oratory, and something I really think about a lot. Remembering my great uncle Norman, who was killed on the beach in Normandy. For those in the media that are with us here, photos with Sir Philip Cook. Doesn't that sound pretty good? And of course, the Consul General Dejonquet will be readily available right after the conclusion of the ceremony. And also stick around because Flight Deck Restaurant and Mission Barbecue, and please have contributed food and drink and beverages to refresh ourselves after our long program this afternoon. Please thank them with your patronage by visiting their restaurants throughout the summer. And a special mention to Ted Stampolitis from Flight Deck and Maddie from Mission Barbecue. Many thanks for their commitment to this program today. For the past 3 days now, I've had the privilege to get to know Sir Philip Bruce. I think that sounds pretty good. And in our conversations late at night, on that first night within Sir Brooks' home, I asked him about getting into the service and getting to boot camp. That if it was the first time that he'd ever been away from Swansea, and no trips out of his small town, no further away than it would take for his mule and wagon to get back home before it got dark. On his way to Biloxi, Mississippi and Keesler Field, his first ride on a train, and later on as he learned the skills of being an airman, that first time in an airplane. It must have seemed like another world. Can you possibly imagine? As he trained for destinations and a destiny unknown, discipline and determination were instilled upon him and in him, so that he were going to win this war no matter how long it may take us. Those same words, no matter how long it may take us, were professed by President Roosevelt in what has been known as his Day of Infamy speech on December 8, 1941. Even today, those words are seared into the memory of those who value their liberty. 2.5 years later, President Roosevelt delivered another speech with the passages just as powerful. In his lesser-known speech delivered on the evening of D-Day, known as the D-Day prayer, he cited several noteworthy ideals that in battles yet to come beyond D-Day itself, success may not come with rushing speed, and that by strength and resilience of our sons, men like Bruce Cook and Vernon Bramley, all those mentioned and remembered in today's program and within our hearts, the preservation of our republic, our religion, our civilization would be realized. Sadly, President Roosevelt died before the war ended, and he never did get to see that final victory he truly believed in. But at war's end in both Europe and the Pacific, General Douglas MacArthur also mentioned the will and fortitude each soldier carried with them throughout the war. Following the surrender ceremony held on the deck of the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay on the 2nd of September, 1945, General MacArthur took to the radio and addressed our nation. In his remarks, he reflected upon that service of millions of men just like Sir Bruce, and exclaimed, "My fellow countrymen, today I report to you that your sons and daughters have served you well and faithfully, with a calm, deliberate, determined fighting spirit. They are homeward bound. Take care of them." Indeed, by this time, 80 years ago, the world was on its way to returning to normal, with thousands of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines returning home every single day. Home to begin rebuilding and reshaping the world in which we are blessed to live in today. And in Bruce's case, as a watchmaker, 1 second at a time. Involving with those characteristics that General MacArthur alluded to in his radio address. Characteristics which were forged in the crucible of war. Through advancements in technology and science, that generation, which we call throughout our program here the greatest generation, applied both triumphs and tragedies to the cause of the greater good for all mankind, friend and foe alike. We only need to look to the heavens tomorrow to see the results of those endeavors in this century. To all those that looked to serve on land, air, sea, factory, and fields, who laid the foundations for all of us to build a better world, I firmly believe and I can unequivocally say that everyone in this room values their liberty and freedom preserved by your collective heroism. To Sir Philip, whose service in the cause of that liberty and freedom, we thank you. The liberty-loving people of the world thank you. And the enduring bond of friendship between France and the United States will forever be in your debt. May God bless you, Sir Philip, as he has blessed all of us with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly rise if you are able, as the combined South Carolina Army and Air National Guard color guard retires the colors. Chief Monroe, the honor is yours to close out this ceremony today. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here today. Please enjoy yourselves for the rest of the afternoon. And please, God bless you and be careful on the way home. Thank you.
Actually working today, so I've been making sure they have says your best. It makes sense to get back
Every day. That way, that building. I think you could go, I've watched people go in like here. And you probably could go all the way through and come out in front.
How's your mama doing? She doing good?
I see you're in the shade. Had enough like
You can pull up here, I'll meet you outside the gate. I'm going to meet you outside the gate. We'll walk through that door right there. Walk through that door right there.
Heading back.
Oh, just one second.
1986.